Okay. Now, more on this, we're going to focus on really just making sure you understand the first step of the substitution method. Okay. We want to focus on making sure you understand that first step of substitution method. How to substitute the two equations together. Okay. There we go. Should we have something to write with? And we're writing down. Okay. So it says solve the system. Okay. And I want you to try to be able to solve it, but more I'm just focused on, can you do the first step of substituting them together? So one of the equations has to say x equals or y equals. Do you see that? Which one? Both of them. Both of them. So that's fine. We can do one or the other. Well, actually, we can't do one or the other. If this says y equals 2x minus 3, I can't circle the 2x minus 3 because I don't see a y down here to substitute it in. Okay. So this is where if x equals 4, I just circle the 4. And I want you guys to be circling. Okay. There's a reason that we do that so that you can visualize I'm taking what I circled and placing it into what I circled in the other equation. Now, if 4 is what x is equal to, then I need to take it and substitute it into x into the other equation. So now I need to rewrite the top equation, but changing x with 4. Okay, so now it's y equals 2, not 2 times x, but 2 times what? Yes. 2 times 4 and then the minus 3. And what's 2 times 4? What's 8 minus 3? So y is equal to 5. Y is equal to 5. What is x equal to? 4. So can you tell me the solution point? 4, 5. With parentheses around it, right? 4, 5 is the solution point. What is happening at that point? Where the two lines are what'd you say? Are intersecting, yes. Okay, so the solution point is 4, 5, because that's the x right here. It said x equals 4. I didn't have to do anything with that one because it was nice. Just told me what that was. X equals 4, then y equals 5. That's where the two lines cross. We're not looking at a graph. We don't always have to be looking at a graph. That's why we're using substitution method. Okay, that would be the graphing method. Which some of you are like, man, can we just go back to that graphing method? Okay. So, but that part right there is what I wanted to focus on. Can you do that part right there of taking one of the equations and substituting into the other? Okay. Now let's look at number 3. We're using substitution method. One of the equations has to say y equals or x equals. Which one does? The bottom one. It says x equals y plus 1. Since x equals, you have to circle everything that x is equal to. Y plus 1. Circle that whole thing right now. Circle y plus 1. And since y plus 1 is equal to x, we're going to take it and substitute it into x in the first equation. Okay. So I want you to try to write that new first equation. Okay. Plugging in or substituting in the second equation into the first equation. Okay. So are you going to write 2 times x? No, you're going to write 2 times, in parentheses, y plus 1. Okay. I'm rewriting this first equation. Because when you have that first equation and you have an x and a y in the equation, you cannot solve it for x or for y. You can't get x equals a number. And you also can't solve it and get y equals just a number because there's always another variable there. Okay. So I'm doing what substitution method gets rid of that x and replaces it with y. So now instead of 2 times x, I have 2 times y plus 1. Then bring down your, or add in your minus 3y equals 15. Okay. Now that I've substituted the two equations together, I don't have x and y in my equation anymore. I just have y. Now I can solve that equation for y since there's not another variable in it. Okay. Now that's what I want us to do. This is also a good review from quarter 2 on solving equations, which you could see on your quarter 3 benchmark on Friday. Okay. So I said we were just going to focus on the first step, but I want you to solve this equation. Solve this equation for y. This is a good practice. Come on. Move it. Move your body around. Move it around. Wake it up. Mirror, what are you doing first? Multiplying the 2 by the y. Good. Multiplying the 2 into the y into 1. What fancy process is that called? Yes. Distributing the 2. 2 times y is 2y. 2 times 1 is 2. Bring down your minus 3y equals 15. This is back from chapter 5 on just solving equations. So it's a good little review. Yeah, if you can't solve equations, you're in big trouble moving forward. Okay. All right. Now what do I do? All right, combine like terms. I've got a 2y and a negative 3y. That's going to give me a negative 1y. Or you could just say negative y. You guys know I always like to put the 1 with it because 2 minus 3 is a negative 1. All right, what next? Yes, subtract the 2. Thank you, Merritt. Now I have negative 1y is equal to 13. Can anyone tell me why it's helpful, why I encourage you guys to draw that line right there? Yes. And if you move those numbers back and forth across this equal sign, you have to do the inverse of it. So that line right there is helpful. So when you try to put the 2 and the 15 together, you don't try to add them together. You're like, oh, I'm moving across that equation sign. I have to do the opposite. I got to subtract the 2 over there. Okay. And now, what's the next inverse step? Oh, love it. Yes, because y is being multiplied by negative 1. So you're right, Jakaya, divide both sides by negative 1, and y is equal to negative 13. Okay, can you tell me what x is equal to? If x is equal to y plus 1, negative 13 plus 1, right? Because if it's y plus 1 and y is negative 13, so x is equal to? 14. I'm glad that you paused for a second and realized that I went to your brain. You impulsively thought. Is negative 13 plus 1 is negative 12. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys, if there's a calculator portion on that, there is. There's non-calculator and calculator on the benchmark. If there's a calculator that you're allowed to use, let's trust the calculator. Let's not trust our brain. It's so easy to miss multiply and miss add or subtract, right? Especially when there's negatives. I always check myself too. Okay. Maybe you try and then you check it with the calculator, because I would hate for you to do all sorts of work good and then get the wrong answer at the end just from a minor miscalculation. It's so easy to do. Okay. So that point that they crossed out is negative 12, negative 13. That's the solution point. Okay. Solution point. That is the x and the y. Ooh, what do y'all notice that's different on the last one? Right, it doesn't have the x equals or the y equals. So the only other thing you can do is take one of the, if it says solve it using the substitution method, or it says what is the first step, you have to do substitution method. You have to see or make one of them be x equals or y equals. I'm going to take the top one. I'm going to take the x minus y equals 9. And I'm going to solve it for x. I could take the top one. I could take the bottom one. I could solve for x. I could solve for y. This one looks like the least amount of work. If I want to solve it for x, I'm going to say plus y plus y. Someone has their, there you go. And then x equals 9 plus y. Now I have one equation that says x equals or y equals. Now I can take what x equals. I can take the 9 plus y. So I want you to circle the 9 plus y. Okay. So if you don't see the x equals or the y equals, take one of the equations and solve it for the x or the y. And then take everything that's on the other side, so 9 plus y, and make sure you plug it into the other equation. So there's the x. I'm going to take the 9 plus y and plug it in for that x. So my new equation is not 2 times x. It's going to be 2 times 9 plus y. Yep, this is, I'm just replacing just that little x right there. So instead of 2 times x, it's 2 times 9 plus y. Nope. Then I got to do plus y equals 1. No, because that's not saying just y equals 1. It's saying 2x plus y equals 1. It looks like just y equals 1, but that also has all this over there too. Okay. So I take that whole equation and I just put in, instead of x right here, I just put 9 plus y. Okay. You guys are going to go to lunch. I'm going to finish this video for those students who are at home. Okay. Bye, guys. I'll see y'all at recess. Keegan, bring me your phone. Okay. So I'm going to do 2 times 9 and 2 times y. 2 times 9 is 18 plus 2 times y, which is 2y. Adding the y, I'm just solving this equation, combining like terms. That's a 1y. 18 plus 3y is equal to 1. Minus the 18 over. This is not going to give me a nice answer. 3y is equal to negative 17. Now I need to divide by 3 on both sides. And y is going to equal to negative 17 thirds. So I'm not going to finish that because that x is going to be another not nice fraction. Just know that usually they give you on answers or test assessments, they're not going to give you weird answers like that. It would always be a whole number or a nice decimal.